There's some new breaking news and some news that hasn't been properly evaluated. I'm going to do it all here about birthright citizenship. Where else? MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. What's the breaking news? We got a fourth judge, this case, Judge Boardman in Maryland. She was one of the original judges in a case called CASA Inc., K-A-S-A, who entered her initial, what was then a nationwide injunction to stop the Trump administration from declaring babies born and future babies born on U.S. soil not U.S. citizens. That went up to the United States Supreme Court. Three other judges, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Washington, in this case in Maryland, all joined with Judge Boardman on their own, starting with Judge Coffenor up in Washington, and found that, in particular, the Trump administration and no president has the right to change by executive order a constitutional provision, the 14th Amendment, about birthright citizenship, or any constitutional provision. You got to do that through amendment. So they all ruled. The problem is most of them, 3 out of 4, including Judge Boardman, issued a nationwide injunction. Went to the United States Supreme Court. United States Supreme Court said, don't use nationwide injunctions. But now we have what the Supreme Court told all the parties to do. Run back to these courts, use class action as your vehicle, use a class action filing, combine that with an injunction, and you got what you wanted. So now we've got our fourth case where we have a nationwide class action and an injunction to stop the Trump administration. Now, why haven't, this is the unreported part that hasn't been properly focused on here that we're going to do together on MeidasTouch. There's already been a series of rulings that required the Trump administration to appeal. Judge LaPlante up in New Hampshire gave the parties 7 days from the order, which would have been, that's already passed, gave the Trump administration 7 days based on a representation by the Solicitor General to go run into court at the Supreme Court level to get an emergency application. They didn't do it. That time passed. That injunction from Judge LaPlante up in New Hampshire, which also, just like Judge Boardman, defined the class as born and unborn, has stopped birthright citizenship from being denied because that order hasn't been appealed. Fast forward now to Judge Boardman. She's got her case, the original case. She just did the same thing, almost identical to Judge LaPlante. Certified a class of born and unborn and entered an injunction against the executive order of Donald Trump being applied against this defined group. What is the born and unborn? It's the born and unborn whose parents don't have, one or both, don't have U.S. Legitimate green card, U.S. citizenship, or other proper status. So tourist visa, no documentation, student visa, all of that. Donald Trump wanted to deny birthright citizenship. But this interesting thing got missed by the mainstream media. There's a reason we haven't been talking about babies being denied birthright citizenship. A lot of conversation about census and about counting people. Donald Trump now wants only Americans to be counted effectively during the census. He doesn't want any immigrants, any undocumented, to be counted during the census, even though that's not what the Constitution says. So he's done that. So there's this, just wholesale attack on your immigration status. I almost feel like I got to carry around my birth certificate, a letter from my late mother, and my passport in my back pocket these days. Maybe I do. So what's the importance of this order? Supreme Court said on the 27th of June that they were going to not deal with birthright citizenship in terms of the merits, but only about the injunction. They didn't like we don't like the fact that all these judges did nationwide injunctions, or 3 out of 4 of them. So we're taking that away from your toolbox. All right. But you can use class-wide certification. Like, okay. So they did class-wide certification. Got us right back to the same place. Now, we're not talking about the scheduling of a Supreme Court decision this summer because crickets. The Trump administration hasn't filed anything. And they're the losing party, and they're the ones that have to file. These injunctions stay in place. We now have belt and suspenders, LaPlante and Boardman, both their decisions in place on almost identical grounds. Both Boardman and LaPlante also didn't require much of a bond. LaPlante required $1, and Boardman said, you don't have to post a bond at all because this is deep constitutional violations that you're alleging, so I'm not going to allege any bond at all. So she vacated her February injunction, which the Supreme Court had problems with. She's already been affirmed once by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which shout out to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, that covers places like Maryland. They're doing a great job resisting and being defiant and protecting the rule of law against Donald Trump. They protected Judge Zinnis about Abrego Garcia. Now they're circling the wagons around Judge Boardman. But why hasn't Donald Trump filed his appeal? Either they don't think they have the votes for this because they're getting some inside information with the Supreme Court. I don't know. Ginny Thomas is married to Clarence Thomas. You do the math. Or they're making some sort of strategic calculation that they want a ruling in all 4 cases and then take them all up together. But I think it's very strange. The other thing that I thought was disgusting and something I wanted to point out is that in at least the LaPlante case and in passing the Boardman case, the Trump administration is arguing that the unborn don't have any rights. See, I thought the unborn in MAGA world were equal to you and me in personhood, that they were people, fetus. I'm talking about embryos. Embryos are people too. And now they're arguing, no, the unborn have no rights. Well, which is it, MAGA? Either they have rights on the moment of conception, according to your beliefs, or they don't have rights. See how inconvenient it is? Where they're arguing reproductive rights and against a woman's right to choose, to try to keep a woman down. They argue rights for the unborn. Yes, the unborn equal to the mother. But now they're saying the unborn as a member of a class, balderdash. So, we have to call them out. Because if we don't do it, frankly, who's going to? We all vibrate on the same frequency. We're here together. I'm so pleased that you're here on MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Come over to Legal AF and hit that free subscribe button as well. We could use a little bit of that love juice over there. That would be important to us to help us continue to grow our pro-democracy channel. And then I think the best way to put this is that we're united together. And we shall overcome the Trump administration, working together. That's why we cover the 500 lawsuits that are approaching 500 lawsuits against the Trump administration, the couple of hundred injunctions, all the cases at the federal court level, the next level appeal level, all the way up to the United States Supreme Court level, because we're winning in the lower level courts. We're losing, but not every time at the United States Supreme Court level. We just have to flood the zone. We just have to do the full hardcore press. We have to continue through all different angles going after Donald Trump and his corrupt administration and Department of Justice. And we will, doing it together here on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok.
Hey everybody, Ben Meiselas here from the MeidasTouch Network. I wanted to let you know about my podcast partner, Michael Popok's new law firm. It's called the Popok Firm. Michael Popok's pursuing his dream of starting his own law firm, really based on the popular demand by all the Meidas Mighty and Legal AFers who were approaching Michael Popok with their cases and saying, can you help us? And at that time, Popok was not able to. So he went out on his own. He started the Popok Firm, where he is now handling catastrophic injury cases like car accident cases, trucking cases, malpractice cases, big negligence cases, wrongful death cases. So if you or someone you know have a case like this, the consultation with Popok's firm is free. Give him a call. See if you have a case. It's thepopokfirm.com, thepopokfirm.com, or you can call 877-POPOK-AF, P-O-P-O-K-A-F. So 1-877-POPOK-AF. Give Michael Popok a call. And I'm really proud of you, Popok. Thanks for all the hard work you're putting in.